Question.
In this lonely ass world, it's getting colder. I'm not going nowhere if I cannot take my boat there. My mind was bred a little different, yeah, from my own past. If I see heat, why the fuck would I wanna go there? Mama, I make you smiling. Mama, your little nigga came from wildin'. Mama, always got in trouble, I was shouted. Mama, now I'm staring at shit. Mama, I'm the pilot. Mama, if I want something, I'ma go get it. Mama, swim with the sharks, piranhas, and fishes. Mama, it's so hard down here, God is my witness. Mama, I know where I'm going. Mama, I'm a fan. It's hard not knowing who is really gonna be there for me. I wish you could be here to see me the day I start touring. Shit be on my mind every second when I'm not recording. I'm waking up conversating with the Lord every morning. I mistakenly took the wrong path, I had to rewind. I fumbled trying to move too fast, I had to keep trying. Growing up I got in trouble, told myself to keep lying. So much stress be building up, swear I be needing me time.
Good morning to the DMV and the rest of the world. This is your girl, REESE, aka the best that ever did it. Yes, and I am in the house today for this episode of Tall Tale Thursdays. This is where we report on stories that, damn, you just can't believe that stuff like that happened. But it did. And in my house today, since this is Women's Month, I have an all-woman panel this morning, y'all.
What?
I got the lovely Blue Phoenix is in with us. Good morning, Phoenix.
Great day, ladies. Great day.
And I got my girl Friday. She's here on the Thursdays, but she usually here on a Friday. Miss Michelle Pucciarelli. We call her MP.
Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? It's a cloudy but beautiful day here in my neighborhood.
Yes. And my girl Nene is coming. She's on her way in, but she just haven't made it in yet. But she's coming. So while we're waiting for Nene to come in to complete the panel, before we start our video on topic of the day, let's talk about what's going on and trending in the news. Do anybody have anything to say about what's happening or going on or trending in the news? You got a story? I got a story, and I want to.
I had a story.
What you said? You had a feeling I had a story. Well, you know, I always got something to say because I'm always in the news. I'm laughing because I was watching Dr. Fauci on the news. He's getting some award for being Italian. This should be right up your alley, Michelle. I don't know why you didn't know about Dr. Fauci.
Italian? Where's my award?
Because you didn't start a mass hysteria of the public and then brought it back down. You know, and it's so funny with the pandemic. So now he's saying, well, in January in 2020, when the pandemic started, we didn't know nothing about this, nothing about that, but you knew enough to tell everybody to go get this experimental vaccine. But now he's saying that enough wasn't done out there. They didn't know enough. You know, it's like trial and error. Oops. And I'm gonna tell you guys something. The pandemic isn't over. I talked to my family members and my friends that's still in healthcare, and the hospitals are still getting run over. The nursing homes are still. It's not gone anywhere. What happened? What got rid of the pandemic? What ended the pandemic was the war in Ukraine. When that stuff started happening in Ukraine, you heard less and less about the pandemic. So now you don't hear anything about it.
I don't know. That's okay. At some point, you got to stop beating a dead horse. And you know what? I am in HR, and I got an email that on May 11th, 2023, it's over. It's over. We're done. That's according to, I believe, DOL. I got to look up the email because I got it in my work email and I don't have that up right now. But yeah, Department of Health and everything. And, the COVID vaccine is now going to be covered through your health insurance like the flu shot every year. Go
Well,
fucking figure it out.
I knew that was going to be coming.
I already said when this first started that it's a virus and that they were going to is doing the same thing that the flu virus does. It mutates, it changes every year. It's a virus, and that no amount of vaccination can prepare you for a virus. You have to allow it to run its course. I already knew that, but people it's the fear that they want to place inside of us. And we fall for it because we scared to death. Nah, fuck these people. Sorry,
Guys,
I said that when it first started. I can't. Everybody's breaking up. Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, Blue Phoenix, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, because if you go back and look at later shows, Louisa, we were saying that's 2 years ago when you was coming up to the studio during the pandemic when we were talking about it on the show. And now this is 3 years later after, and we was like, we've been said this. We knew this was coming. And I'm sorry, guys. I know everybody quote unquote love Biden and Biden. I lost credibility with our president in February of 2020 when he got up there and told that little girl, and y'all can go back and look at the footage that COVID-19 does not affect children. COVID-19 told that little girl, "You're safe. You ain't got nothing to worry about. Oh, it don't affect children." The next thing you know, the babies and stuff started. They was always dying from the beginning.
Well, kids get sick. That's part of being a kid. When I was a kid, you know this already. We were talking about it this morning. When I was a kid, I had the chicken pox, which was a virus. I went to a party with other kids who had a virus. I wasn't staying 6 feet away from them. We were playing. We were sleeping. We were probably licking one another at some point in the evening. And then, fast forward to 2008, I told you that, I was pregnant with the son. Things went wrong. And I could get genetic testing done to find out if genetically things went wrong with my son, and according to the test, genetically the baby was fine. I had picked up, wait for it, I picked up a virus.
Well, I don't question that out there, but I didn't like it when he lied to the public and that little girl and told everybody that children aren't affected, and that's because he was ill-formed from the people around him. And when he said that, I said, wait a minute. He's crazy. That's not making anybody sense. When we know children are little germ carriers anyway.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. If anybody gonna be infected, it's gonna be them. They the one passing the disease around.
Yeah. I call my kids little disease bags, and people get upset with me about it. But theoretically, we are. I mean, I had every sickness unknown to man when I was a kid. I had a seizure when I was a little baby. And, I lived to tell another day. But the seizure that caused that was because I had a very high seizure.
Mm-hmm.
Had either roseola or the croup or something, because I was always sick as a kid. And I had tonsils that were bigger than my throat. Like you couldn't see down my throat. And my mother, bless her heart, because my pediatrician at the time had an ashtray on his desk. Secondhand smoke, who cares? And my mother insisted that I have my tonsils and adenoids removed. And once that happened, it was a friggin' miracle. I started growing. I started getting sick less. And again, this is just my experience, my case, how my body works. And my body worked where that once I got my tonsils and adenoids removed, I still got colds. And I had impetigo, which was disgusting. And I gave it to my sister. This is probably why she hates it.
I had that too.
Oh, yeah, my sister and my daughter had
that too.
Because you know why? I was out being a kid playing in the mud and dirt and rubbing it all over me and getting it under my fingernails and then sticking my finger in my nose and in my ear. And surprise, surprise, I'm a little disease bag.
Child, that stuff is no joke. It is so funny.
And for those who don't know what impetigo is, it kind of mimics the chicken pox. You break out with these little pus bumps. After they pus, they dry up and scab and fall.
And you have the scars.
And
My
itchy.
sister had it real bad.
Yeah, no,
I
I
had it real bad too, but it didn't scar me up like that.
mm-mm.
That's because she was scratching it. When you scratch it, you get the scars. Because
Yeah.
I had a few. I can still see my scars, but I had the chicken pox too. I don't know if it was me that came home with the chicken pox or my sister, but it spread from the house. My mother had us in
I
one
can't hear
room.
you talking to your mic, baby.
I'm sorry, I don't know if it was me that had the chicken pox or my sister, but whoever one of us came home with it and spread it throughout all our siblings. My mother put us in one room, and she got that calamine lotion and that oatmeal bath. And don't touch me. Wash your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Put the
I
socks
remember
on your
that.
hands. Oh, we went through all of that,
I
and we
remember.
survived. So this is what my
Louise,
biggest thing.
talking to the phone, you keep going
I
out.
am. I am. I'm gonna have to put my headphones in. But the biggest thing is we're afraid of all these things when you have to allow your body to do this so it can become immune and create immunity. And you
Yeah.
inject it, we afraid of everything, but we used to eat dirt,
No one.
ringworms, all types of stuff. We didn't pick up dirt and eat it, but we had it in our hands, we put our hands in our mouths.
We picked it up,
You
and we
know,
was making mud pies. And don't tell me
yeah,
you never picked the
we
mud pie.
were playing with
Everybody
worms.
ah.
We went outside, and that's the problem. Our kids don't go outside. Matter of fact, I'm making them go
Mm-hmm.
outside. But we don't go out. We don't send our kids outside like we used to go outside. It's not as safe, though it was crazy then. The community looked out for the children. So now
Well,
it's harder to just send them out and let them rip and run the street.
it's crazy. It's absolutely.
It's sad, is what it is.
And the things that happen now are honestly, I mean, different. I mean, I remember when I was pregnant with my first daughter, and one of my ex-husband's friends, when we found out having a girl, he said, "Oh man, I feel sorry for you. I have boys, and with boys, you got to worry about one dick. With girls, you got to worry about many."
No goodness.
Yeah, isn't that a blessing? But I remember her having a conversation with him, saying to him, do you realize that our children are going to be a softer, wussier version of us? They're not going to grow up the same way we did. They're not going to have the same experiences. They're going to have a different view and perspective of the world, where we grew up with parents that, when I fell down when I was a little kid, bless my father, he used to say to me, if I was crying and I fell down, is there blood? Is there blood? If there's no blood, you got to get up and get going. I mean, we would even be, my sister and I, we lived in Brooklyn. My father, he used to take us down to this cemetery called Greenwood in Brooklyn, and he would strip cars, and my sister and I would have to be his lookout. And one day, Carol and I started fighting.
Crime.
And up on a horse, sneaks up on my father. We don't hear him, and my father gets back to the car, and he's like, "What the fuck, you two? What were you doing? How did you not see the horse and the cop?"
See, y'all was
We
crime.
used to look, but us at that age, we used to do some things. We were a part of a lot of stuff we weren't supposed to be.
And look, and the parents is bringing the kids in on the stuff.
Yeah, times have changed. Times have changed
Drastically. And that I asked this question to the panel before we get into the video. Do you think what we're doing is making our children better for the wear or worse for the travel? Meaning, we're trying to do what we do and shelter our kids so they won't have it hard like we had. We try to make them tough and stronger, but by us doing that and giving them everything, and are we making these kids entitled to feel entitled? Are we making these kids feel like they're better and they can't understand or undergo the word no? Like when we tell children no, they keep they whiners, they complainers, they cancel culture. Are we doing that to our children?
Yeah, it's our fault. We did it. But the thing is, what we are giving them, we are causing them to be crybabies, and we can correct that. But another thing we are giving them though is a voice and a space where they can be heard. So it has to be a middle ground, because you have to teach your children that you can't whine when no means no.
Yeah.
But if you give them that space where they feel safe with you, it'll build a better trust. And so
Mm.
I say yes and no. We are responsible, but we are also creating healthier humans, and
Yes.
not those who have to grow up in their 30s, 40s, and 50s and have to heal from things that we had no business having to heal from. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah. I mean, at 45, I feel like, because I am an alcoholic, and they say when you start drinking, like binge drinking alcoholically, like that's when you emotionally stunt your growth. Like emotionally, I guess I would say I'm stunted. So because I started drinking when I was 13. And now at 45, approaching 46, I'm dealing with a lot of issues, and like I'm learning how to check myself before I wreck myself when it comes to my emotions. And I
uh-huh.
feel like now as a parent, like, because I grew up in a place where my parents were nothing but emotion. They were always like yelling. That's how we grew up, And again, I know I'm Italian from New York, and we are naturally loud, but there was a lot of anger behind those words. So now when I have children, I don't speak with anger in my heart. I speak with, yes, frustration. There is frustration, but it's love and trying to be patient and trying to get through my frustration and showing myself and my children, more importantly, grace. Because while our children are, every day going to school and they should know better and do these things, today is March 23rd, 2023 at 10:48. This is the first time I am experiencing this moment as it is for my children.
Mm.
So what do I actually know? I only know what I know.
Can't nobody fault you or get mad at that, because you
Yeah.
only know what you know. So,
Yeah.
um,
And that's why
speaking
we
of
grow.
speaking of you only know what you know.
Oh, Lord.
Let's say good morning to the people. I know you people. Hey, Gwen Factor Robinson.
I
Hey,
saw.
Molly, DJ Slicky Woo Boo. And that's on one side. On another side, can y'all see the other people that's in?
Mm,
Uh,
Because I
no, I
see
can't see anybody on the other side.
I can't
on
see
the,
any on the other
oh,
side.
okay. Well,
No, we got people watching and loving on us.
yeah, it's on both sides. And unfortunately, I can only see on one side. But hey, it's all good. Hey, good morning, y'all. For those who I can't see, y'all, good morning, all that good stuff. Okay, people, let's get into the video that I wanted to share about it being National Women's Month.
Mm.
And the clip, I want to share this. Molly, go.
Amanda American Dixon Toomer was born enslaved on the 20th of November, 1849, on the Dixon Plantation in Hancock County, Georgia. Her mother, Julia Frances Lewis, was a slave who worked as a house servant. Meanwhile, her father was a well-known slave owner and agricultural reformer called David Dixon. He was one of the wealthiest planters in the local area. The circumstances of Amanda's birth were quite sad and unfortunate. Her mother, Julia, was just 12 years old when she was raped by her master, who was 40 years of age.
What
Julia then became a mother at the very young age
Very
of
common.
13.
the
For a
fuck?
while, Amanda lived with her mother and her maternal grandmother. But once Amanda was no longer dependent on her mother's milk, she was taken from her. It was decided by Dixon and his family that Amanda was to be raised in the household of her white grandmother, Elizabeth Scholars Dixon. Although legally a slave by birth, Amanda's father made sure that she was well educated. Thus, she was taught to read, write, and play the piano. Throughout the years, Lewis Dixon developed innovative and successful farming techniques. Due to this, he became famous in the local area and much wealthier. By 1861, he was nicknamed the Prince of Georgia Farmers.
Stop right there.
It's thought
Right?
that the
Georgia.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna bring it back. I bought this video because it's Woman Month, and I wanted to we break this down in segments since it's a longer video. It's longer than the regular 3 minutes, to get everything out. But before we go into the questions of what we just heard, so far what we heard, I want to say good morning to Nene. Good
Morning,
morning.
fam. Good morning. How everyone is doing? Good morning. Happy Thursday, fam.
Happy Thursday to you too. So y'all saw the video, right? I heard
Yeah.
Michelle
Hey,
gasping.
Mimi.
Hey, pretty.
Good morning, gorgeous.
Good morning, my beautiful sister.
I heard Michelle gasping about, and Louisa is like, that's common. That's no, because we know what happened during a lot of this stuff. What happened during slavery to the black woman and the black men and all of that. But Michelle, you was like, what? 12 years old, being raped by her 40-year-old master, girl, some even
No,
younger than that.
but
Yes.
I know that has happened. But again, to my ears, even though I know this has happened, that young girls were raped by older men and made to have children, even when they didn't want to, because they were just considered property, cattle, slaves, whatever we want to call them. Okay. It's still shocking to me when I hear this.
Right. Because
But
you reflect
in
your
today's
refer
age,
to the current
it's
time.
disgusting and despicable, and men go to jail for this. But back then, we're not talking about it's not critical race theory in my mind. It is the truth. It is history, good, bad, ugly, and otherwise. It's part of the American story, and it should be told. Period. Sorry,
And,
I'm off my soapbox now.
go ahead, Louisa, get on your soapbox because Louisa was saying
Go, girl.
something.
Sorry.
Oh, I wasn't saying anything. I said the reason why it gas, because we see things from now because, like she said, they will be in jail. They will be locked up, or somebody when they get in there would be done killed them for doing things like that. Now, so it is like oh my God, I can't believe it. But then you have to go automatically switch your brain to history, and it should be told. It is American history.
It should shock me too, but we're so prone to it. It's nothing to hear that. It should be shocking, but I'm desensitized to it because you hear stuff like that time and time again. My grandmother's mother was 15, and her husband, she married a 40-year-old, and they had 11 children, but there wasn't a rape. But back then, a lot of people took their liberties. A lot of the slave owners, the master, even after slavery, took their liberties with a black woman, and they would come for a black gang and have their way with us or whatever. So none of this stuff is shocking to me, especially when you have a family history of such ills. You know what I'm saying? Nene, what do you got to say so far about what you saw in the video?
I didn't get a chance to see it all, but however, just the small portion that I did watch, this is something that we've been dealing with. The trauma, we've been dealing with this for such a long time, and so of course we always get triggered when we see this because it's always a reminder of the horrible things that has happened to us. And that's why I say today that we are strong women, because we had our ancestors, we had gone through so much, from the beginning, since our people been over here going through slavery, we had gone through so much. So to be in the place we at today, still standing strong, maybe that's one of the reasons why we have such a zero tolerance for BS, right? Because we know our ancestors gone through so much, and we're not going to tolerate no one, mishandling us or belittling us or make us feel anything less, because we know that the rape of children, they was raping children. They was raping our men. No, it didn't matter, man. They done some of the horrible, worst things to us. Our ancestors, it's unbelievable. But however, we still standing, fam. And that's why I'm the way I am today. Like, we ain't taking nothing, because our ancestors gone through the hardest part for us. It's our job now today to make sure we never go back.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? not to like keep over talking everyone, but that's like the stereotype. And I told Althea I missed it earlier this week. I think y'all were talking about it. The stereotype of an angry Black woman. You know, that when a woman is speaking, a Black woman is speaking up and sharing experience. And I'm only saying this because I follow a woman on LinkedIn named Madison Butler. She calls herself a corporate unicorn. She is a queer Black woman who's going on LinkedIn and sharing her experience as a Black woman working in corporate America with a systematic system. You know, it's our systems in corporate America is still a racist system. We know this. Right. So she's sharing her experience, and on LinkedIn, you know, this is professional. Okay, I'm sharing. It's objective. There's no tone. There shouldn't be any emotion when I'm sharing my experience on LinkedIn. And would you believe professionals on LinkedIn are berating this woman and telling her to stop being an angry Black woman and telling LinkedIn to ban her and get her off of LinkedIn? The fuck? You know what? She may make me uncomfortable with what she's writing, but God damn it, I need to be, because Black women are not angry. You're fucking frustrated. You're frustrated. You're tired. You're sick and tired. I mean, again, that's how I'm learning. My perception, and again, I learning from Madison Butler. It is not your job to teach me. It is not the Black woman's job to teach the white woman. It is the white woman's job now to get back in touch with other women of all colors and learn and empathize and say, you know what? We all have titties and vaginas and stuff. We just are of different colors. We're all women, aren't we? We don't have to have that debate who was born a natural born woman, right? We know we're all women. And as women, we should all be sticking together. That's my opinion. Regardless of race, color, creed, gender, whatever, religion, I don't give a shit. If you're a woman, I stand by you.
That's right. Because you know what, sis? I'm going to tell you, I'm thankful that there was a lot of white women who helped out, who stood in. Not all white folks was involved in this slavery. I mean, it was a lot of white people who lost their lives for trying to help Black people to escape slavery. You know, so we don't want to just condemn and say, oh, all white people is this or all white people are that, because we know that a lot of our ancestors couldn't have survived without some of the white people who felt that slavery was completely wrong. I mean, they was marching, they was protesting to say, hey, this is wrong. You know? So however, you know, that's why I said, you know, we have a lot of history, and they don't want to teach this in school because they say it made the white students feel uncomfortable. But it's not even about making them want to feel uncomfortable. It's just putting the truth out there about what has happened, you know, here in America. And it needs to be taught so they can have an understanding. Because right now, they making it seem like we're not the inventors of almost everything that actually exists today. You know?
And if we're going to speak about slavery honestly in schools, we have to admit, we are still a country of racism. We do not want to allow Black people to be free. We still want to keep them oppressed, because it's okay with telling all the stories of white people who got killed, but we only have a few stories about Black people in history who've gotten killed. Why isn't Harriet Tubman on a dollar bill? Why isn't Luther King on a $5 bill? Why aren't there even Malcolm X? Yeah, you might not have liked what he was saying. We may not agree with him, but he made people fucking think. And that's what we're not doing, in my opinion.
Right. What you say, beautiful on top? What you say, sis?
Well, I ain't said nothing. I'm just listening in the background. I'm not gonna go into it today, y'all. I ain't gonna do it today.
Not today.
But,
you on the show, you know what I'm saying? So you gonna have to take it there. We gonna have to.
Oh no, I'm gonna talk, but you know, you guys are saying everything that needs to be said. You saying?
I feel you, sis. I feel you.
So let's continue with the video, Molly. Continue.
Okay.
Prosperity in the state was in large part thanks to him. One thing he was vastly remembered for was teaching farmers that violence wasn't necessary to profit from slave labor. Dixon treated his daughter well, showering her with love and affection. When Julia was able to see her daughter, she also gave her lots of love, but Dixon treated the mother of his daughter quite badly. Julia Francis was owned by Dixon and worked as his housekeeper. Not only did she have to do long, hard hours, but she was also forced to satisfy all of Dixon's needs, including sexual ones. Despite Amanda's legal status, she was relatively well treated. Thanks to her father's social standing, she was quite privileged. For example, she was taught the social customs of her wealthy white family, proper etiquette, how to dress, and in general, how to be and act as a lady. All of this would hopefully allow her to be a lady of society. Furthermore, Amanda's father taught her practical knowledge, such as how to conduct a business. This information allowed her to have good finances, meaning she could maintain and protect her wealth if need be. Growing up, Amanda developed a special relationship with her grandmother, Elizabeth. She would spend many hours in her grandmother's room, enjoying her company. But sadly, she passed away in 1864. Amanda was 15 at the time. Although they had a special relationship, by law, Amanda's grandmother, Elizabeth, was technically her owner. It's more than likely that if Elizabeth could have, she would have manumitted her. But in Georgia, it was prohibited by law to independently free slaves, meaning even if slaveholders wanted to, they couldn't change the status of their slaves to free.
I'm sorry.
Because of this, it wasn't until slavery was abolished in 1865 that Amanda was freed. When Amanda was 16 years old, she left her father's plantation to marry her first white cousin called Charles Eubanks. Together they lived on a small plantation in Floyd County, Georgia, near the city of Rome. Although the couple wanted to marry, they couldn't do so legally in Georgia, because at that point in time, certain laws prohibited the marriage of interracial couples. It's not known if they got married in another.
I'm Goldie. This is my club. I run shit.
All right.
The state where these laws did.
We'll stop that right there. Did y'all hear that? The father treated the mother like some crap because she was still a slave, but she treated the daughter fairly and the grandmother fairly. They gave them all the white etiquette to grow up in good standing. But you got your mama working hard, being treated like that. I mean, that's a lot of trauma for a child to see. I'm in the house with dad, but we treat my mama like some dirt, and you still abusing my mother. You still raping my mother. You still doing all of the stuff to my mother. I'm seeing this. And then when she grows up, she go marry her white cousin. First cousin. Her white first cousin. Ladies, your thoughts on this? Nene, we're going to go with you first.
Let the other sister go. I'm trying to adjust my phone. It's having some. I'm trying to adjust my phone. I'm sorry for the moment.
I go.
Okay,
now, with as far as the mother, I'm pretty sure she was darker skinned because the baby girl, the young lady was lighter skinned, which is probably why the father took to her like he did. If she was darker, the grandmother and the father may not have treated her in that way. So she was able to pass as white. She was able, she looks a little like she got a little Hispanic in her a little bit, but you know, she was able to pass. So they treated her that way. They taught her, they did all these things, but they mistreated her mother. And in a way, we don't even know if they kind of manipulated and made her think that they weren't treating her mother wrong. That happened a lot. You know, that happens now. People manipulate their children and implant thoughts and things in their head about their parents or those that's taking care of them to make them turn on them. So we never know how that went. He had an issue with her mother, but he still went and satisfied himself sexually with her. So You know how that goes. But then, as far as her leaving and marrying her cousin,
First
which
cousin.
was yeah, that was a lot. That was common too in the country, not only with white folks, but black folks too. Uh, um, that, and then they left to get married. I really, this is a very interesting story.
Yes, it is.
Uh-huh.
It's making me chain smoke.
Oh.
I
Don't stress
know.
out.
I'm not.
Michelle, Nene, do y'all got anything to add before we continue with the story?
Mm.
Well, but sis said it all basically. This is something we've been dealing with for a long time. Black women who born, looking like they was white, passing for white. That's been going on for quite a while. Like sis said, if the child had been a little darker or brown or my complexion or whatever, that was not going to happen. But if she was able to pass, super light, and that type of hair, it was on, but they've been doing that for a long time. And it's sad because it's still going on today.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do it to ourselves. That colorism.
I was waiting
Yes.
for somebody to say that.
Yeah. I that story. Look, I'm not trying to make light of it, not, but I'm a comedian and I make inappropriate dark joke humor. And as I'm
Mhm.
listening to this, I'm like, this doesn't sound much different than my mother and father, than like being a wife,
Hmm.
depending on the
Mhm.
relationship, the partner you have, you
Yeah.
know. I'm not saying that every man is like that, but again, it just goes to show you how women are thought of and kind of just tossed aside. That be subservient, do what you're told. I mean, my ex-husband, and again, this was not a red flag to him, ladies. Try Phoenix, you're gonna like this one. This was not a red flag to my husband. Before we got married, a few weeks before we got married, we were talking about our vows. I
Mhm.
refused to say "hey" because I could not say it in front of my mother and my paternal grandmother, my grandmother Red. That was her nickname. I couldn't do it.
Mhm.
What the fuck,
Mhm.
obey? You're not saying obey.
Hmm. Okay, let's see.
So
Is anybody in the group saying something? Just wanted to let y'all know I will be on Good Day on Fox 5 morning, banging
that's
in the booby
yep.
show this.
Saturday. That's the Miss Gwen factor. She's
Oh,
gonna be buoy, so tell your friends. And then DJ Slicky Woo Boo. Bullshit. I don't feel sorry for her. I guess he's talking about, the girl. Uh And then we have Alan Williams laughing, ha ha, pass as white. I know that is funny. That is funny. And Miss Chocolate, another comedian, schooled me when I was waiting in line to use the bathroom after a show and I was about to wet myself. And I was joking around how I bought a house in Temple Hills. And like in the summertime, don't worry, my mother was worried because, where I was living is a colorful neighborhood. And I told my mom, I'm like, don't worry. In the summer, I'm fine. I'm tanning. And I told that to Miss Chocolate. And she's like, well, at least you can pass when the winter comes. And I'm like, do you need to go to the bathroom first? You go in front of me. I don't mind wetting myself right now. I will wet myself for you, Miss Chocolate. I hear you. Please go ahead of me.
Okay. Molly said, "Wow, I bet those white people spoiled her, gave her the best schools at that time."
It's
I need y'all help if y'all can see better than I can. Molly
trying.
said they left her everything when they died.
Isn't that a sad hard truth, ladies? That what was this girl's name? The girl, what was her name? I have a terrible thing with names, but isn't that a sad hard truth that the only reason why she got treated as a white person because she could pass?
yeah,
Hmm.
it's always been that way. And like I said, you remember, listen, they've
Imitation
been
of
doing,
Life. There was a movie
yeah,
about it.
yeah, The
Sure
Imitation
was.
Life was a great movie that demonstrated how the sister was passing and she was ashamed of her dark skinned black mother. You know what I'm saying? She was in denial, about her blackness. She did not want to be black. She did because she saw how black people was being treated, and she's like, I don't want to be treated like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna come on the other side where I could pass, so I could get treated. And she was happy on the other side till she got exposed.
Oof.
Yeah. And a lot of people back then in those days try to pass for white. But what they don't tell you in the history books that when they are found out, a lot of them are beaten and killed, and by their own husbands. You use and then the poor children.
Yeah.
If the children come out of that, then it's abuse. Alan wrote a big old paragraph. Can one of y'all ladies read that paragraph he wrote?
I see it. Yep. I got into it with my son's school because my son expressed that he felt like Jesus wasn't white. And the teacher got upset, tried to convince my son he was white. What? Okay, somebody sent another message. So now I lost it. God damn it. I'm working off of my phone. But they try to convince him.
It said I got into it with my son's teacher because my son expressed that he felt like Jesus wasn't white, and the teacher got upset and tried to convince my son he's white. This was a year ago. I went to the school board about it, and now that I did, they no longer teach this subject about it or any subject pertaining to religion.
Thank you. Church and state are supposed to be separate.
That's right.
My ass. We trust the money more.
Man, he also said we can't control who we are, what we look like, or how people treat us, but we can control our integrity, our hearts and minds, just to be a good person and put God first. Man cannot bless you, so man cannot give you blessings. Say it again, Alan.
That's right. That's right.
Amen. Let the church say amen.
Alan,
amen.
Show them all for Freaky Friday, Alan. Just hit the link. I'm Alan and Jessica. Come on tomorrow. Take over the light skinned people. The passing.
Ain't nobody passing, ma'am. Ain't nobody passing. I couldn't look. If I wanted to, I couldn't because this hair give it away.
Yeah, the hair give it away.
And I'm straight natural, so I don't care. I'll be like, yeah, I am indigenous. You got a problem? Okay. Kenneth said, "Great rising, everyone." Dickie, Slicky said, "All fine women panel today, looking great, ladies." Alan said, "Bless up, Queen." Molly said, you read it. He said they left her everything when they died. She married a white man. I don't believe she went through anything this kid's saying in the video.
Okay, let's watch the rest of it. See how it turned out. Molly, the rest of the.
Oh yeah, Alan said, "I love being golden. I shine for no reason." I tell you.
Look with his green eye self. He one of them boys.
Didn't exist, as there's no proof of a legal marriage ever taking place. Her partner Charles had recently returned from fighting in the Civil War, serving in the Confederate Army. Shortly after Amanda moved in with Charles, they had a son called Julian Henry, and in 1870, she gave birth to Charles Green. Both went on to become part of Georgia's high society, marrying women from prominent families. Unfortunately, Amanda was constantly unhappy in the relationship, and so, in 1870, just after giving birth to her second son, she left Charles and returned to live on the Dixon plantation. Wow. Charles Eubanks then died on the 31st of July, 1873. When Amanda was 27, she left her home once again in order to attend the Normal School of Atlanta University. She studied teaching there for 2 years, from 1876 to 1878. After this, she returned home to the plantation once again. On the 18th of February, 1885, Amanda's father, David Dixon, suddenly died. This was very important for his relatives, as it was unclear how his will was going to be divided. And of course, everyone wanted their slice of the cake. David Dixon's will stated that all of his wealth and property, which included over 15,000 acres of land, his personal possessions, and $3,000 in cash, would be left to his daughter, Amanda Dixon, and her 2 sons. The will stated that this estate would be left to her sound judgment and, unlimited discretion. Furthermore, it prohibited interference from anyone, including any future husband. Despite Dixon's dying wish of no one contesting his will, a total of 79 relatives filed a lawsuit, taking the David Dixon will case to court. Many arguments were presented in order to prevent Amanda Dixon from inheriting her late father's fortune. A frequently raised point was that David Dixon was not of sound mind when he wrote the will. Other family members insisted that he was unduly influenced by Amanda America and Julia Dixon. Some family members even went as far as to say that Amanda wasn't actually his daughter. The case was first resolved by a probate court which ruled in favor of the will. Following an appeal in November 1885, it went to the Superior Court of Hancock County. Again, the court upheld the will's validity. Not happy with this result, Amanda's restless, distant family members appealed once again. The case finally made its way to the Supreme Court of Georgia. In the end, it was ruled by Associate Justices Samuel Hall and Mark Blanford that Amanda was entitled to everything Dixon had left her in the will. The ruling cited the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, as it states that property rights are equal for everyone, no matter the race. Finally, after more than 2 years since her father's death, Amanda was finally able to dispose of her inheritance. Thanks to this, she became one of the wealthiest African-American women of the 19th century. As a result of the legal dispute with her family, Amanda felt so much pressure and discontent that she...
Military gadgets are changing people's physique, and here's why. These military special forces are becoming stronger fast by breathing in 200.
She left her family plantation on the 15th of July, 1886. She settled in Augusta, Georgia, a city which she was familiar with. There, Amanda purchased a large 7-bedroom red brick home in one of the best neighborhoods in the city. After a short time in Augusta, Amanda's wealth allowed her to become part of the elite black community in the city. Her intelligence, elegance, good nature, and wealth made her well liked and known by much of Georgia's high society.
Her money made
On the
her.
14th of July, 1892, Amanda married Nathan Toomer. Her husband was similar to her in many ways. Like Amanda, Nathan was well-educated, wealthy, and mixed race. He too had been born into slavery, yet he learned the ways of upper-class white gentlemen when he worked as a personal assistant to Colonel Henry Toomer. For various months after her marriage, Amanda had many health problems which were constantly attended to by the family physician, Thomas D. Coleman. Eventually, her health did improve, but it would again deteriorate due to a stressful family ordeal. In 1893, her youngest son, 23-year-old Charles Green Dixon, who was a married man, became infatuated with his stepsister, Mamie Toomer, who was just 14 years old. In order to protect the young girl, Amanda and Nathan Toomer decided to send Mamie to a convent school in Baltimore, Maryland. However, this didn't deter Charles. With the aid of 3 accomplices, 2 of whom were his in-laws, they planned to kidnap young Mamie Toomer. Fortunately, their plan failed, and as a result, all of those involved, except Charles Dixon, were indicted for conspiring to kidnap the young girl. After having spent around a month in Baltimore, the ordeal was behind them, so Nathan and Amanda traveled back home to Augusta. Sadly, they were discriminated against when they were denied their first-class seats on a Pullman car. Due to this, they had to change their travel plans. As a result, the journey home was very unpleasant. Conditions while traveling were not ideal, and the very high temperatures caused Amanda's health to once again take a turn for the worse. The couple finally arrived home on the 9th of June, 1893. Upon arrival, Amanda was seen by a doctor and was diagnosed with neurasthenia, or nervous exhaustion. The symptoms include unexplained chronic abnormal fatigue, insomnia, back pain, anxiety, depression, and headaches, among many others. Unfortunately, just 2 days later, Amanda American Dixon Toomer died on the 11th of June, 1893, due to complications of diseases. She was just 43 years old and had only been married to Nathan Toomer for about a year. Amanda's funeral was held at the Trinity Methodist Church. She was buried in her wedding dress in Cedar Grove Cemetery, Richmond County, Georgia. Amanda didn't leave a will, so following her death, a legal battle ensued for control of her estate. In the end, it was settled out of court, with her mother, husband, and sons coming to a friendly agreement. Thank you everyone for watching this video on Amanda American Dixon. I hope you enjoyed it. Wow. If you did, leave me a like and a comment down below.
Wow. Let me read some of these comments, because what? Okay, Alan said, light skin, green eyes. I'm the typical red bone, well moisturized, light skin guy. But with that, I get stereotyped until you get to know me. But just looking at me, you would think I was a stuck up prick. First of all, why you had to put well moisturized in there, Alan? You always doing something.
His ashy stuff. Light skin.
He said, he said, this shit like some Blair Witch stuff. Let me grab my sage.
I have
talking about,
oh shit.
Huh?
I have my sage.
You got your sage? He talking about some Merlin. It's Merlin, right? Maryland is Merlin. It is Merlin. Kenneth said, this is some interesting history, their story. It really is. And Alan said, tight ass waist trainer blouse will give you back issues for sure. You need to behave yourself.
Who got a waist trainer blouse on?
He talking about Amanda. You know, that's what they used to wear, the corsets.
Oh, like a waist trainer.
Right.
But okay, what I was geeking off the story, when her father died, everything was left to her. 79 relatives came out the woodwork to say no.
Exactly, where they come from.
She had 15,000 acres. 50,
that's a lot of
land. Everybody could get 10 acres, and she still had hundreds left. And and then what tripped me out was with her son thinking, imitation of life, thinking that they white, gonna go off and marry to the convent school so he could marry her cousins. And the only reason that girl's mother and father was helping so they could get the money. It was making on money. I'm gonna help you kidnap my daughter so you can marry her.
And wasn't this another first cousin?
That was his step. No, that was his stepsister.
It's a step.
They weren't related. It was her husband's daughter.
That's one of the
right at that time. The steps, but then it's so funny because colorism played a part. No matter how much money they had, they were still treated like second class citizens.
Second class citizen.
Yeah. Well, that was like I told you guys, I watched long ago. I watched on HBO, they had the life story of Josephine Baker. You guys, she was an entertainer, a dancer, and she lived like a queen in France. They welcomed her in Paris and she was celebrated. And then she decides to come back to the good US of A. And she's not treated like the queen.
Yeah, they treated her like shit.
What?
Yes.
You know who she is?
That wasn't uncommon.
Yeah, that was very common with our entertainers.
For the worst.
Yeah. I never understood that, guys. I never understood it. Here we are. We celebrate Black culture, hip hop, R&B, the athletes. We celebrate. We pay millions of dollars to people, right? Millions of dollars to people, but yet we still look to tear them down.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? Period.
Do it the way you do it. It's what the fuck?
I'm burning my sage. I'm busy burning my sage. I'm praying for peace, prosperity, love, health, and happiness, people. Here we
make
go.
sure you open your windows. So the sage, when you burn sage, you have to open pathways so that the spirits can leave out. If you want to do it with the window closed, you need the Palo Santo.
What's a Palo Santo?
It's a wood. It's a type of wood that you burn.
Oh,
and that is, yeah. Well, when you do sage, you are to open the window so that they can leave. If you sage and don't open windows, you're keeping them there, and you just get your house smelling like herbs.
Good to know. I'm opening windows when I go back inside. You don't have to go home.
I ain't gonna burn no sage because that's the conduit, and I don't want no good spirits, bad spirits. I want no spirits bothering me.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let me present this case. Satan, Lucifer, was an angel. Okay, he was hanging out with God, and at one point he was in heaven. He was good at one point in time, and then he did something that
Lucifer.
Lucifer. And then they sent him to hell, and there's good and there's evil. There's bad and evil now. And honestly, like my sisters, I'm saying you can't have good without evil, and you can't have evil without good. My sister's best friend, who is my sister, and oh Lord, I never wanted another sister, but this woman, she is good and evil at the same time, if that makes any sense to y'all. She's got a good heart, very good heart, balance.
It makes sense because we all have darkness and light within us. But that's the thing. Heaven and hell is here on earth. And regardless, like you said, if Satan was Lucifer was put out, he was still an angel, therefore he still has light.
And that's why I'm not playing with nobody's herbs, no candles, no wiccas, no nothing. Because you don't know what you're going to get in, traveling in with the good or traveling in with the bad.
You have to know what you're doing. Ain't nothing wrong with ain't nothing wrong with
I ain't doing it.
But let me read the comments. Alan said her fam was at her door like, hey, Amanda.
No, they at her door like, we taking your butt to court.
But he talking about he said pulling up in buggies like, hey, big head, heard you got some land. And then he said, and we manifested moisturization for all. So stupid.
Right. They didn't because they took her to court. You ain't going to show up like that, then take her to court to try to take her land and say, your daddy wasn't in his right mind. Your dad, you know, he could have said, Uncle David owed me 10 acres of land. And I could have just imagined.
Excuse me. Do you think her daddy was in the right mind before he made that will?
Yeah.
Of course, he made that will way before he got sick.
But what was he doing? Who was he fooling around with? Who was her daddy fooling around with? What kind of shenanigans?
But they said that was the only, they didn't mention any other daughters. So I'm thinking that was his only, you know, child or whatever. And that guy looked like your ex-husband, didn't he? With the mustache.
Are you talking about my ex-husband?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Good. Wow. Everybody's got their own flavor, I guess.
Yeah. Let me read the comments, y'all.
I need new glasses back. Wait.
Alan said, you ever get a toothache? That's the devil for sure. Molly said that was his favorite person in the world. That's why he left it to her, you know. Slicky said, hey, as always, when money involved. Yep, family show up.
Yep.
And you said her dad was a whore. He was a whore.
He was a rapist.
He wasn't no whore, basically. He was sleeping with the same person.
He was a rapist. That's what her dad was. He was a sicko.
So then I go back. When he made his will, was he in his right mind?
Yeah.
Was he ever in his right mind, if that's the case?
And the grandmother, because remember, the grandmother loved her. Her grandmother loved her. And they wanted her to be free then. And that's why he took her to get the business right, because he already knew he was going to leave that girl that stuff. That's why he schooled her. He sent her to school, and he, you know, told her about the business, because he knew you going to take over the business. He knew that.
Yeah, couldn't trust anybody else.
And he groomed her for that. Exactly. Yeah. That's why he left. He said,
yeah, he knew what his family was going to do.
You and the baby.
Part of his plan.
Included the babies in the will. So that means he must have went back and ratified that will to include his grandsons. Because I'm pretty sure when they first did it, they probably weren't born. So he probably went back and added the grandsons. He knew what he was doing. That was his family. He was like, the hell with them daggone relatives.
Right. And I really like the part, sis, where he made provision to make sure that any man that she married wouldn't even get the money. When it's
Yep,
still
he
her
sure
money. I
did.
like that
So
part. He was smart because he already
that's
knew.
right. Now, does that sound like he wasn't in his right mind? He was
Exactly.
sharp.
Yes,
I,
he
He was
was.
all over his mind, and then, but at the end, her husband, her mother, and her sons came to an agreement, so they all split it. Basically, her mother ended up at the end getting something,
yeah,
so it
Right.
cannot take over the
Mhm.
pain and the trauma she experienced. Her daughter
Right.
still looked at her at the end of the look for her at the end of the day.
I mean, it's going to sound dark, but I mean, her mother got her money for her emotional pain and suffering. And again, I'm not saying he was not in his right mind, but this man had a plan. This man, hey, I'm Catholic. I think guilt comes into a lot of things, a lot of thing at play. And the guilt in his mind was here. He had a daughter that looked like maybe like him, similar to him. There was nobody. It was his favorite person in the world, and that was the one child that he trusted. So again,
Mhm.
you can't take your money with you, but you can make for damn sure it stays with the people you want it to stay with.
That's right.
Right. That's why I gotta amend my will to Tyree right now. Tyree is it, but and even if I get married, my son is still gonna be it.
You better
And
put your husband in the damn wheel. Don't treat your husband like that.
Got to detail that.
um,
See you later, Swicky.
Bye,
it,
y'all.
it said it's a death do us part, so that means if I pass, it would do us part.
And he gonna part with that wheel
And hope now,
because
hopefully my husband will have his own and wouldn't look
we
for
we
me.
we we gonna talk about that after the show. Because first and foremost, that's supposed to be your husband. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be after these kids. Of course, you're gonna need something for your children. It's supposed to be after these kids. When you with your husband, it's supposed to be y'all against the world. You can't sit here and tell me something when you die, you ain't gonna leave him. Now, what type of nonsense is that?
I didn't
If
say
your
that was
husband
not
died,
what you
if
mean.
your husband died and he didn't leave you nothing but left it all to the kids, you would have a whole problem.
Right.
I
That
see
part.
some yeah, I see a lot of stuff that happen like that.
It happened
That
to me.
that
Yeah.
the lady. Oh, this is a terrible story about a woman getting shafted again. Now, the man and the woman, they living together, right? The woman helped the man buy the house and everything, but her fault was that she should have been on that deed because
Yeah,
when he died, her name wasn't nowhere on that deed of trust, the lending, no nothing. And when he died, his children came in and swooped in. They've been together for 20 years.
I heard
The
something like that
children
too.
came in and swooped in and gave that lady the shaft, kicked
Yep.
her out of her home that
Honey.
she built with this man because they was trusting of each other.
Were they married?
You no,
No.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nah, you ain't married. You definitely gonna have to put your name on something.
you ain't getting it. Shiznit, and they wasn't married because at the time she was still married. She had to get her divorce, and
Oh, okay.
she when they got the house, that's why everything was in his name and everything. But you should have went back and amended that stuff.
Yeah.
If everything was just
Exactly.
like she finally got the divorce and everything, but because she didn't, she wasn't sharp like that. And when she died, he died. She ended up losing her house, and because the kids hated her anyway,
Wow.
Yeah.
and she ended up scratched. And I was like, that is so sad. All because she didn't protect herself and her interests. She
Come
thought
on
she
now.
was doing by having a house and a husband and her
No.
boyfriend's name because she was still married.
Wow.
That's very sticky. But as soon as I got that divorce, I'd have been changing them documents.
And what?
But people
Oh,
get comfortable and complacent, and you just never know.
no.
Yeah.
I was such a terrible wife, Nene, that my ex-husband, when we got the divorce, made sure to file a change of name order with it. So I went back to using my maiden name. My kids have, the married name, but I'm still their mother. What the hell do I care? What's a name? What's a name?
Right.
I
That
got
part.
a name.
So it's something. The woman. So that was a good story and a sad story at the same time because it was sad because her kids stressed her out and killed her at 43, 47. Because she was dealing with the stress of them boys
Right.
and they
Well, of
shenanigans.
everything. Of everything. Of everything. And who knows what kind of illness she might already been in, had from the beginning. You
Well,
know,
they said stress.
so,
And
yeah,
stress is enough to cause you migraines, backache, fatigue. I mean, they listed it, and I was like, poor lady.
Mm-hmm.
Molly Mall in the building. Real quick before we go out, let me read. Alan been all in these daggone comments. He's talking about he said he gonna do interviews of any husband you get, Reese. And DJ Sly Tie going to DJ gangster music while I interview.
What?
Talking about, can I sing at your wedding? I'm thinking pumps in the bumps and C flat.
Oh my God. He said pumps in the bumps. And that's, Michelle, you see that?
Got
you
it.
See that C flat. Oh man.
Big Bertha butt boogie.
Well, I redid it, but remember, Pumps in the Bumps was what we was listening to when me and Angie originally
They
fell.
going down.
Yeah, and I just put Bertha on there later. We was doing Pumps in the MC Hammer.
You know what's funny? I was just thinking about, right? I said if we was living in that time, you know, I'd be that helper. He'd be raping all the time, you know, because of my skin tone. He'd be trying to hit me up. Now, y'all, the rest of y'all other two, y'all be in the kitchen working in the house. Y'all be the house slaves.
But see, they got raped too. They got raped too.
Yeah,
everybody got it now. Everybody got it. Yeah. But for someone like myself and my complexion, they was always on us.
That's because they really were attracted to the darker women. They were attracted to black women anyway, but they had to make it seem like they weren't. Because if they weren't, why would they try to sleep with them?
Come on now.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, we was the lovers. We was the helpers. You know what I'm saying? So all that. But however, man, I'm telling you, we just got to move forward. This is a great show. It was to put it out there. A lot of people don't even know our history. Black folks don't even really know our.
Remember her name, Amanda America, y'all. Hey, Dumas.
Amanda had a lot of last names. Okay.
Well, it was only
it was 3.
Count Dixon, Amanda America Dumas Dixon. So Dixon is the one that made her rich. So that's all. Amanda American Dixon. That's all we need to know. That's where the money from. And Nene, to piggyback on what you said, he would have had me going to get you. So I was a master say, get you ready. Come on, get in this milk bath.
Come on, master.
First of all, Alan, you know what? Hold on. I'm tired of Alan. Alan gonna have to get in the corner. He talking about something. He would have been humping all y'all. Y'all the whole color spectrum, sizes and flavors. Y'all like a bag of M&Ms. You know what? Molly, take us out of here because Alan gonna keep on talking trash.
Tomorrow is Freaky Friday. You coming on tomorrow, Alan?
That's what you do.
You gonna be on with us tomorrow?
Yeah, tell them some daggone M&Ms. You know what?
Okay, and Mimi, can you come on tomorrow? Michelle would be absent, so I got you know, so I got Louisa, Nene, and Alan. Justin's supposed to be on tomorrow too, so that's 4 so far. So yeah,
let's get a full house, make it do what it do. Yes, and hopefully we could next week. Hopefully we could finish up that. The subject from Monday, Black Women.
Me and Michelle gonna be out in the lobby too at Banging on Bowie Saturday, so we need to be on Fox 5 too. We're gonna be selling the t-shirts, Michelle, out in the lobby,
and we're gonna be making too. Why not?
And the book, you are on my book thing. Yes, please, everybody, tune into that 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. It's on your Roku, Facebook, and YouTube. You could see the interview, the whole thing, all the authors and publishers and all that good stuff.
Oh, that's good. Well, let me reread Gwen's comment before we got it. She said, just wanted to let y'all know I will be on Good Day on Fox 5 tomorrow morning promoting Banging and Bowie show this Saturday. Tell a friend and bring a friend Saturday night. And that goes to what Reese was just saying about her and Michelle going to be out there. Y'all get a book, and whatever else is going on with the shirts and everything with Gwen, but make sure y'all buy Reese's book, okay? We ain't gonna keep telling you. We just gonna start walking up to you and handing you the book and holding out a hand for the money. Because we're not about to be playing with y'all.
Exactly.
We ain't about to do it.
That's right.
Shades of blue.
Shades of blue. Shades of blue. Hey, I like that.
It's a good book.
Yes.
Oh,
Great.
Rico on here. Hey, Rico.
Yes. Tomorrow, Freaky
Okay,
Friday.
Molly, we done talking. We're sorry.
Come on, Molly.
All right.
Molly said, okay.
Come on, girls, shut it.
I know. Can't take us nowhere.
Not done, y'all good? So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
just listen, it's ladies month, man. I ain't trying to get beat up or nothing.
That's right. That's right. Women's month.
They say all women. That's included the trans too.
Mm,
That's a not.
no,
No,
no, sir.
No, they got
Do not get them started. We supposed to be
Stop
getting
it.
out of here.
They
Nah,
got they trans
that's all you gotta do.
LGBTQ trans got their month in June. They got a whole month in June.
Oh, okay. So you
Yeah.
celebrate in
We'll
June.
talk.
Okay.
You know what? We
You say,
don't went.
Molly?
Huh?
We talking about you celebrating June. Marley, stop it.
No, I'm messing.
Alan called us M&Ms. Now we Skittles. You know what? I can't.
Yeah. We gotta get Alan on here, man. But it was a good show though. I ain't never heard that story told that way.
Me
That's the
either.
first time I heard of Amanda. I always heard the story, but I always heard great stories of her father. I always
Amanda
heard how they
American.
had had their relationship, him and Julia, that was her mother. And the town didn't like it, but they couldn't do nothing about it. I'm just saying the stories I read. That was just a white boy giving his narrative. But all the stories I read up on that before years ago, that this white dude had so much power, they was pissed off at him because he was loving this black lady. He didn't even have sex with no other lady after this black lady. She
That's
did
what I said.
with the slave. She wasn't like a slave. She worked for him. She did all the books. She kept up with the numbers, the money, and everything. I didn't read none that she mistreated her. They were so scared they had to send their daughter to go live with grandma because the people in the town they ain't trust her. You know, so they took her to the best school. They kept her away from slavery. She didn't know what slavery was. She didn't know nothing about it. So all the stories I heard, it was the first time I heard the negative thing. But he still said a lot of positive. Like, you know, it did take the first time they used the 14th Amendment and stuff like that. The family did come try to take the land, and she still married a white man. I didn't know that was her cousin or somehow related. I didn't know that part.
Her first husband was
Then the next one was like somebody like her, but it was weird. They just seemed like they painted the father out to be terrible now, though. I'm looking at him like, oh shit. You know, but at first
Well, you know, it's always different versions.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that was the first time I heard that. It was good though.
Her last name was Dixon. She's the original Dixie chick.
Yeah, that was his favorite, man. He spoiled on all the stories I heard so far. Even this one, he left for everything. You know, it wasn't because it's condition or nothing. He wrote that long ago. And the more he made, the more he added to it.
They took her out the fields and stuff, brought her inside the house and educated her.
Yeah, I never knew she touched the field.
After
It was a good story, though. I love it.
She didn't. Remember, they took her after she was big enough to get off her mama's teeth. After she was big enough to get breastfeed, they took her from the mama. The mama was out in the field. The mama wasn't.
Yeah, that's saying the stories I read. Mama did the books. She worked with pops in the house. They was fucking and everything. She wasn't in the field slaving. But them different stories, I don't know. I don't know what's true or not. I said this is the first time I heard this one. I heard 1,000 other ones the total opposite. So that was the first time I heard this one. This is the one I probably should have been heard, but I ain't saying it's true or not. I don't know. But I liked it. Good show, ladies. Good show.
Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Always a good show with y'all on here. Y'all got anything else before we get out of here?
Listen, I was just gonna say, everybody have a great Thursday. Remember to continue to love on yourselves and be your best self. And don't let anything and anyone bring you down. Just make every day count. Smile, be happy. Allow all that other nonsense. Let it go. Let it go. With that being said, love you, fam. On the Morning Max Show.
Michelle.
Oh, this is such a beautiful, blessed day tonight. My girl Althea is going to be coming out to support me when I perform at the Tony Woods and Nikki Moore Comedy Showcase, which I'm very excited about. I can't wait for my outfit tonight. It's going to be fantastic. And the love today was phenomenal, and I hope everybody continues to feel a lot of love today.
Weezy. Blue Phoenix. Sorry.
I just want to say it's a wonderful Thursday. I thank you guys for tuning in. I thank everybody for the comments. Alan, you are off the chain. You better come on tomorrow. But I just thank y'all so much for being here and being ladies and just being you. I thank everybody for being who they are.
Thank you. And I thank everybody as well for being who they are, because you guys, I love you guys. And I thank you so much for holding on, banging with me, and supporting me all the way. So you guys are my sisters from different misters and mamas and all that. But just love. We related by the love, but not by the blood, but definitely by love.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, and one brother.
And what
and our brother.
You can't forget Big Brother Slicky Woo Boo, because if you forget him, he gonna call and run cuss you out, Molly.
Yeah, my bad, my bad.
But Molly is the baby brother, the super producer, the man with the plan, and the sea moss.
Amen. How?
Yeah, I see y'all in the background.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Bye.